Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Al-Quran, the Jewels of the Quran spheres. In the last session, we concluded reading from the selections from Surah Al-Hajj. And in today's session, we begin reading from Surah Al-Mu'mineen. Surah Al-Mu'minun, the first selection is verses 1 to 11. And the second and the selection 51 to 60, in fact 61. And these are the only two selections. It means there is a gap, a long gap between 11 and 51, so almost 40 verses. There are themes that inshallah will try to cover. These themes, the in between, about the phases of human development, not evolution, of course. And the story of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, a reminder, because I think we dealt with this before. And verse 41 about what has been translated as the blast, as-sayha, it's the sound, and we'll speak about it inshallah in due time. 1 to 11, pretty much about the attributes of the believers. And if you could recall from Surah Al-Hajj, towards the end, there's the verse that addresses the believers. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا, bow down, واسجدوا, prostrate, واعبدوا ربكم, worship your Lord, وافعلوا الخير, do the good, لعلكم تفلحون, so that you may be successful. لعلكم تفلحون. The beginning of Surah Al-Mu'minun, so almost immediately, لعلكم تفلحون, there is one more verse, but almost immediately after that verse, after verse 78, which concludes the Surah Al-Hajj, the very first verse after Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قد أفلح المؤمنون. لعلكم تفلحون, قد أفلح المؤمنون. There it asks the believers to bow down and prostrate and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to do the good. Here, what do we have as attributes of the believers? Successful indeed are the believers, قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون, those who humble themselves in prayer. So that would include اركعوا واسجدوا وعبدوا ربكم. It's an umbrella. It's because the ibadah is not restricted, of course, as you well know, to prayer, fasting, hajj in itself. Almost practically every good deed with the right intention, sincere intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is some form of worship. That's not the formal, and it does not really cover for the obligatory forms of worship, such as the 5 daily prayers, or fasting Ramadan, or paying the alms gift to the needy. We have 8 categories, but trying to fulfill your your mission on earth. You have not been created in vain. You try to decide what is your job description, if you will. What is it included in the notion of vicegerency on earth, which was the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the creation of Adam alayhi salam. This is not the political institution that emerged after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, though it's the same word. That institution is only one person, the Khalifa, as the political leader of the Muslim community. But the Khalifa, as describing the role of Adam alayhi salam, covers every human being. People choose willingly not to, they have to answer for that. But it's definitely, whether it's politics, economics, social order, the arts, yes, the arts too. There is art that violates the law, and there's art that does not violate the law. In fact, there are forms of art that celebrate the Qur'an, the Hadith. I'm aware of the work of a Japanese professor of Arabic who painted one painting a year, very beautiful calligraphy, and the colors, the way he painted the painting with calligraphy from the Quran would reflect the meaning of the included in the verse, or more than one verse. So if it's read about the oceans, about waters, it's going to be blue in color, etc. So the first attribute is those who humble themselves in prayer. Second one, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, those who avoid idle talk. Idle talk. Idle talk, it's not, we don't talk about that which is haram per se, but it's that which is really a waste of time. But in order for you not to waste time, you have to have a plan for your day, a plan for your week, a plan for your month, a plan for your year, a plan for your life. Yes. Otherwise, what is it that you are going to do with your life if not, if it's not serious? And you don't avoid idle talk in order to go and watch TV. Binge watching, as they call it, from one thing to the other. Scrolling your phone ad infinitum. In fact, ad nauseum. Because it has been said that scrolling without end would cause depression. And that's if the content in itself is not harmful. But usually you cannot, if you keep scrolling, you will come across something that is unbecoming. Even if those who are addicted to, for example, sports, and they keep watching one game after the other. This is not against watching sports. This is about being addicted to watching sports. Like those who are fanatic about Real Madrid and Barcelona. And during the FIFA season, people stay up. They might not stay up to pray tahajjud, qiyam layl. They might not get up to pray Fajr, but they will get up if there is a game during that period or stay late. At any rate, let's put it this way: you don't save time by avoiding idle talk in order to uh, um, you don't save time and invested in gossiping and that which is haram or doing something wrong. So وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, because there is something higher than that. And you are called to have goals within that realm. What's your do you intend to leave this world, even in a very small way, a better place, let's say, working against some problem, some alleviate the conditions of some people who are suffering, either on a small level, small scale, or much larger than that. The third attribute of the believers who are successful, of course, they are those who perform the zakah, those who give, they pay the alms. Let's put it this way: there are people who are suffering in this world. Sometimes there are poor people in the same society where you live. It's inevitable. Today we have something new: professionals in even Western countries who cannot make it, who cannot pay the rent and take care of their families and themselves. And they are professionals. They are not successful lawyers or surgeons, but accountants, for example. Some of them became literally homeless. So that's there in the western coast of Canada and the United States. And these are not the only places, of course, but I'm simply pointing to in Europe. I saw it with my own eyes. Homeless, and even people who cross the Mediterranean searching for a better life. Sometimes they end up homeless. I saw such people. 20% of the world population live in the north, enjoying 80% of the resources, approximately. 80% live in the south, subsisting on 20% of the resources. 1/8 of the, of course, we today are 8 billion people on Earth. 1/8 are special needs. Not every special needs person is poor or needy, but in general, they are, and they do need the help of the society. Zakah is the right of the needy, so it's not that you are not doing them a favor. Imam Al-Ghazali, in his chapter in the book on zakah, even he says that the person who accepts your zakah is the one who is doing you a favor by accepting the zakah on one level. Yeah, it's fine. This is your duty. This is your obligation, but you need someone to accept it in order for your zakah obligation to be fulfilled. And if all people paid zakah, then definitely this society will be a smaller gap between the rich and the poor. The idea is not to artificially bridge the gap. The idea is to meet the needs of those people. I was once walking in an Arab country, and there was a blind person trying to cross the street in a place where it is not served by traffic lights, and there are with traffic lights you have For the blind, they could read Braille. They can read and they can push buttons and they can listen to a certain uh, signal and they can cross the street. So I kind of help him to cross the street. And he told me that every few months he gets from the, let's call it, social security or whatever you'd like to call it, very, very little money. Every few months. It's just very little money. I know that it's not enough even to meet his basic needs. It does not cover really food, it does not cover medicine if he needs to, it does not cover practically much. So it's the responsibility of society, not only the individuals who will pay zakah, it's the responsibility of the society at large to invest the zakah for the needy if there is surplus. Especially one of my former students, this is literally a little bit more than 30 years ago in the United States. So he was from an Arab country. Jazakallah khairan. His family is wealthy. They have their own zakah fund. So they just simply, rather than distributing all the money to the needy, some people need cash. But they invest the zakah for the poor. The next attribute, those who guard their chastity. No adultery, no fornication. In Arabic we use zina for both, but it's basically either one is married or is single. And the punishment for the married is definitely harsher than the punishment for the single person, whether male or female. It's the same punishment. Today they have lost it in many parts of the world. A woman calling a program broadcasting, you could only hear her. She's asking for advice, and she says that now her daughter reached 14 years old. This is in the United States, and the girl wants to have dates, and she is exploring. And the context is very clear. She's exploring. The dates are not to go to watch cinema together. Even that ultimately will end up in bed. It's fornication. It's fornication. And the person who gave her advice, he told her 14 years old is too early. She's young. So it's okay in that society now if she reaches 16 or 18 to commit, to fornicate. There's no more, keep your legs together. They don't dare say this anymore. That's it. And people are surprised why all these diseases and all these tribulations are hitting them. There's no more. They don't uphold the law in any sense. They would like to remain believers in their own way and to cash on the idea that God is forgiving, God is love, God is loving. So go do whatever you want. والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون. This is not the only thing. It's not only when it's fornication or adultery. Those who donate their own sperm and their own ovum, they donate or they sell. It's camouflage sometimes. They don't give you money for the sperm, but they will compensate you for the transportation, and it's really a backdoor. Some of them have many offspring that in certain countries they don't allow you to know who's the donor, meaning who donated the sperm, for example. Your biological father, you're not allowed. Some countries allow for those who dig. And a woman wanted to find out. She found out who the biological father was, and she found out who the siblings. Haram. It's all haram, but they are siblings. And they met with their biological father, and it seems that he wanted to stress only that he is not responsible for them. Meaning, I understood the context as saying that you are not going to inherit me. He became successful later on. He was a student making some money from that donation. And the court in the United States prohibited a particular man from continuing these donations, hundreds. So and I don't know what's the psychological issue, because definitely it's not about money with that person. Hundreds, and the court order prohibited him from donating sperm anymore. He went to other countries to donate. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. The society should don't put yourself in a place, a man and a woman in isolation. How many times things happened? How many problems took place? We are not saying that physicians, for example, or engineers or professors or whoever is a bad person. But when you go to an office and it is closed and there is no one else, you go for a checkup, your mom should be with you. Literally, okay? Your sister should be with you. Your friend should be with you if there is no one, no sibling. And if a male and female are together in a secluded place, the third person is Satan. It's only usually it's a matter of time before they engage in these things. Protect yourself. Don't put yourself in a context where this could be the case. They call it, they convinced women that this is liberation. They have practically liberated men from responsibility. They get what they want. They don't want to be responsible to get married and have children within the family network, legitimate children. So those who guard their chastity, except with their wives or those in their possession, this is a phase in history. If you talk about bondwoman or you talk about slave woman or what have you, that was a phase. And I remember as far as in school, as at least in middle school, I remember our Islamic studies teacher telling us that Islam came with the solution to these problems. So to end slavery in all its forms, including this issue. This is why people should respect if they agree, become part of international agreements. You don't want, in case of war or what have you, you would like to protect women. You'd like us to protect children. You'd like to protect the elderly. You'd like to protect even animals. I'm talking about what I see with my own eyes today. these things happened to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, but it happened in Sudan between two parties that both of them are Sudanese, both of them are Muslims, both of them, and we know that rapes in Kordofan, Darfur, did take place. But whoever seeks beyond that are the transgressors. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. The next attribute, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. They are those who are true to their trusts and covenants. Someone asked it's an amazing thing how people come up with ideas, with questions, to explain something. Someone said, if we could go to pre-Islamic Arabia, say the year end of the Prophet ﷺ was born in 570 of the Common Era, and he became Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him, sent the Archangel Gabriel, peace be upon him, to the Prophet when the Prophet ﷺ was 40, so around 622. The Hijrah, the migration to Medina, 632, the Prophet ﷺ passed away. So if we go to Mecca, right before 610, the beginning of Revelation, let's say 608, 607, and we ask what later on, those who became the arch enemies of the Prophet ﷺ, even amongst his own uncles, and we ask a group of notables in Mecca, let's say they are sitting together, and we tell them whom we can trust with our money in Mecca, or anything valuable really. All of them would agree. They would have a consensus. They would say Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. This is something that we should revisit. To be trustworthy, to keep your promise, to fulfill your contracts, even it doesn't have to be written. Of course, it's not against writing, documenting things, but your word, you should respect your word. One thing was about there, if we talk about the Arabs, pre-Islamic Arabs, there were horrible things that they did, but there were certain things that they wouldn't do, and there were certain things that they have done. For example, they were generous. They still are. Arabs are generous. You will still find somebody who's not, but in general they are generous. The pre-Islamic Arabs, they would not lie. That's something. They would fulfill their promises, their pledges. Even the Prophet ﷺ was part to alliances to help the needy, the meek, the wayfarers, like such as Hilf al-Fadul and others, really. So وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. And the last attribute mentioned here, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. They are not only they pray, but they properly observe their prayers. So it's not one day yes and one day no. It's not that on Fridays you don't feel like going to the Friday prayer. And also, it means also to be present in the prayer. Not that your body is praying and your mind is absent in the market or somewhere else. They are those. So those who have all these attributes, they are the successful believers. They are the ones who will be awarded. They'll be awarded. They will inherit. They'll be awarded, but they will inherit. Inherit what? Those who inherit أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. They paradise. They will inherit paradise. They will be there forever, eternal life. With this, inshallah, we conclude these first 11 verses of Surah Al-Mu'minun. Inshallah, we'll begin with the verses in the, as I called it, the gap, the places that Imam Ghazali did not select, the verses that he did not select about the creation of the human being and the phases of development. An amazing, inshallah, topic in the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.